The opinions expressed in this episode or any episode do not necessarily reflect my personal opinions, feelings, or experiences. Hello and welcome to The Block's Sunday Special, a deeper look at content creators, their lives, and the communities that we all know and love. I'm your host, Kid Moto, and today we have a real special guest. Welcome to the Sunday Special, a longer, more personal look at some content creators around the internet and the communities that they helped create. I'm not going to waste too much time with an introduction. Today's guest is the most popular, most recognizable content creator in the Minecraft recorded space. He's the reason any of us are even here listening to this podcast, Mr. EliteChris35. Chris, thank you so much for being the first guest on the Block Sunday Special.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited. I'm ready to go and give you some of my thoughts on stuff on the community and my channel in general.
You are going to have a lot of questions about the community. This is really special. I know you haven't really done any press like this before, so I'm glad to get to talk to you. I want to start off with something positive. I want to start off by asking you, what has been your peak moment over the course of your series history? Looking back on all these years, what is like the number one thing that stands out to you as like the peak moment?
I'd say probably doing an all-star season and having all these like people that I consider to be really good players all come back for one more shot. Just the logistics of having people that you want specifically to come back all under one time, under one space, it's really hard to do that. So I'd say my peak moment was just recording Legal because it gave us so many amazing moments that like I still remember to this day. The first successful idle play, our first rock draw, an advantage find that ended up being a successful advantage usage through Sinwar. And yeah, just like really being able to say, hey, I was able to make an all-star season with 16 of like the most, I'd say, iconic in their own way players that I've had on my series up to that point.
Was it difficult to narrow that choice down? You see like a lot of fans of your series like speculating on people that they'd love to see come back. Was it a lengthy process to determine who was going to come back, or did you kind of have those 16 in mind going into it?
I mean, the real story was I had 17 people in mind, right? And there's the story that like Bayback and Bayback was actually in the running to come back from How Long. So it was either Brady or Bayback that were going to come back and take that last 16th spot, and they actually had to race and join the Discord server on the day of, and whoever came to the Discord server first would claim that last 16th spot. And just like, so I had an idea of who I wanted to come back, but it was still really hard to make that chop on the 17th person not going to be able to play, because honestly I didn't think 16 people, all 16 people, or sorry, I didn't think that all 17 people would show up on the day of, and um, there wouldn't be a need to be a backup. Like I didn't think I'd need a backup, but everyone wanted to play, and it was really humbling and heartwarming to know that people cared that much about the series all the way back in season 6.
When you're like casting for a general season, like, a season 5, season 4, season 8, what are some of the biggest factors you look for in potential players?
Oh boy, that's a spicy question. Um, Nowadays, it's a matter of what can you bring to the table that I have never seen yet on the show? Because I feel like, not for nothing, I feel like everyone here has that hobby of like wanting to, or has a hobby of uh, playing Minecraft recorded game shows or playing video games. But other than playing video games, what else do you do in your normal life? I like meeting new people and getting a little taste of like other people's worlds. through the casting process. I'd say the casting process is probably one of my most favorite parts of producing a new season. So that's mainly what I look for: people that can provide something new to the table and provide me a new, fresh perspective on the way someone lives their life. Because I think it's healthy to kind of just collect different viewpoints on how people live their lives.
Without like naming names or going into it super deep, just on a surface level, what has sort of the best and worst applications that you've seen kind of look like? Like, what are the components that those contain?
I can start with like what's the worst applications. um, Personally, for me, just if you don't put that much effort into it, it's very evident when you don't put that much effort into it. Like even as something as little as like fixing your grammar and fixing like yeah, like the way you word things, or if you don't fix your spelling, I can tell that that means you don't really care about what you're applying for. And I will say those kind of do lean towards the younger folks that apply. But there have been people in the past in the younger side that do surprise me with like how well they edit their applications and make sure that it seems professional. I'd say the best applications are just the ones that show me how people live their lives. And I know that sounds really cliche because I just said that in my last answer, but like the ones that I remember, someone that didn't get on the season but like was real, or one of my previous seasons but was really close, was someone who was like in his 30s that is an actor, and on the side he also does he's a waiter and likes to dance on the side too. And so it's just learning how, like learning different things about different people and like the way they live their lives. Um, that just intrigues me. Like I know that's a bit harder too for like the younger folks because you're trying to discover yourself and what your hobbies and interests are. But I like seeing in applications people who are not afraid to talk about what interests them and what they're passionate about. Because I guess passion attracts passion. This Minecraft Survivor thing was a passion project, if you really think about it, from its inception in season one. So I guess naturally for me, I'm just uh, drawn towards other people who show their passion for certain things in their lives.
So far on the show, I've talked to people who have been through either your application process or others within the community, who have been on like in all areas of the casting process. But this is really a unique opportunity because it's the first time that I'm getting to hear, or that the listeners are getting to hear, the absolute pinnacle of casting in the community, and your thoughts on it. Something that has come up, at least in a couple of the interviews that I've done so far, is this idea of reputation and bias within casting in the community. And this isn't an accusation at you, more so just general curiosity. As someone who truly is making that final stamp on approved or not approved for the cast, is bias and reputation within the casting process, is it inevitable at all levels, or can you say there is no bias? I look at every application and I don't check the name. I just look at what you wrote.
All right, I'll tell you this much. I do think that there is bias in casting, but however, you can ask anyone on my production. I am the first one to call out bias when I see it, and I'll even call myself out on it, just to make sure that like everyone knows it's out on the table. You know, you might know this person, or like you might have certain feelings towards this person, and I can see that that might affect your decision making. And it's best for everyone in the casting room to kind of realize that, because the end goal is to have the best season possible. So that might mean not casting one of your friends, you know. I've done it before, and you know that it does hurt people's feelings, but at the end of the day, what do we want? Do we want a good season? Yes. So um, I would say that there is definitely bias in the casting process. There are names that you're going to see that you're like, "Oh, I've seen that person around." But for me personally, I know what it's like to be on the receiving end, because for me, on the receiving end of uh, being not chosen through an interview stage because of some sort of nepotism. I'm not a fan of it in the real world, even though that's kind of how things work in the real world, um, where people get jobs through connections sometimes, and it's something that you just kind of have to do. But um, I would say, like, back when I started early in season 2, season 3, when I was still in college, still trying to like get internships basically, um, in computer science in the field that I was studying at that time. I wasn't a fan of knowing that someone could get that job over me just because they knew someone, even though I might be a better fit with the skills I had. So I know what that feeling is of not getting a spot because someone else, you just knew someone on the off chance. For me, I like to think that my process is finding 14 to 16 new people who are the best new people that I can possibly get, and they are the most deserving out of everyone that goes through the casting process.
I don't think it really comes as a surprise to anyone that we are sort of entering this transitional phase within the recorded community specifically. Some of the older content creators, like yourself, like Kyle, like Andrew Yallo, have been pretty public about the fact that the future of their series is at best unknown and at worst, I think, completed in its current state. What advice would you give to some of the smaller content creators at this point looking to maybe fill that content gap? The next generation of not only player but host as well.
I would say just keep doing what you're doing. Um, you know, I remember listening to one of your previous podcasts. I think it was with Tim, or no, it was with Echo, where you asked him, do you think anyone would be able, or do you think anyone right now on the smaller end of content creators are able to fill in the shoes that myself, Andrew Yallo, Kyle, are about to, leave open? And he said it's a big gap, so probably not. And I kind of agree with that. So personally, for me, I'd say keep doing what you're doing because it's better to make your own brand instead of like trying to fill in a gap necessarily, because the viewers and the followers, they'll all come, like people will see talent when they see it. They'll see a good, if people will know when they see a good series. For me, it didn't come immediately. Like I had to pump out 4 or 5 seasons until I started seeing like people come to my channel and actually, having this growing following. But I would say keep doing what you're doing. Try to establish your own brand. Uh, establish your own editing styles because you have to make yourself uh, different from people in the past that have made their own marks. So yeah, just have your own brand.
Why do you think, going off of that your series compared to some of the other ones that have existed, why do you think your series established itself as I mean, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn as the premier Minecraft recorded series of the last, 5 or 6 years.
Oh boy, that's it's a long time. If I had to say the one X factor that made my series stand out from other people, it's just how, like, for me, I think it's how faithful I've kept the show to the real IRL counterpart, and how I've made it with confessionals, and I've made the series with um you know live strategic conversations, and putting it down in an edited format. I think my editing style is what made it um stand out, because people started to realize this is like almost like the real thing just in Minecraft. And so I think I was able to get in a lot of the viewers from a lot of people who uh don't necessarily like Minecraft but like Survivor, got them interested into watching it, and anyone who was already in the Minecraft Survivor scene interested in my series, because when I first joined, I wasn't the only one doing Minecraft Survivors. Kyle was doing his. Um, there were other ones already out there. So for me, it was, I think, just a matter of making my own brand, like I said, and that brand being my editing style, and the fact that like I go in hard in the editing room. Sometimes I will take 8 to 10 hours just to pump out one episode because I want to edit it right with my style, with my brand.
What is something you wish that the casual fan knew about Chris the person as opposed to Chris the host and content creator?
I think what I wish people knew is I'm just a guy, a normal guy living his own life. And I just so happen to really like Survivor and Minecraft. And um and that's how this series was born. And to like think that like I'm this untouchable being um just because I have like what you said, the premiere series of Minecraft Survivor on YouTube. But I'm just a normal guy living his life, doing his own thing, and that I don't think I don't think I'm better than anyone just because I have a really successful series.
What impact has this series had on the community at large?
Yeah, I think my series has had an impact because it's definitely made the community grow and introduced new people into it. Um, like that's probably the most rewarding thing about casting for a new newbie season is introducing new blood into this community, because even the people that don't make it onto the final cast, they'll still find their way through this community and they'll still see the advertisements in my public advertisements Discord chat to play in different game shows that are not recorded necessarily, or maybe they will play in another recorded game show and make their mark in different areas of the community. For me, it's definitely the idea that this community has grown alongside my, I guess, channel following, and that's really rewarding because this community does give back to what you put in, you'll get back basically.
Do you believe that there is a deliberate, unintentional, fully intentional, or non-existent split between certain people in the community and the games that they play in and the people that they associate themselves with?
You know, I've kind of been secluded from the community for some time, I feel like, just because I kind of like live my life and try to be quiet around the community. But it in my opinion, I think that because the community is so large, you will naturally have splits. You will have people that are going to be more casual. You're going to have more people. You're going to have people that are going to be more serious. Like I'll say, for me, like I only talk to a certain group of people, I'd say, within the community, just because those are the people that you create bonds with, I feel like. And that's how it is with other people too. You create bonds with other people from the games that you play with and the friendships that you make outside the game. And typically you tend to gravitate to want to play games with them on your free day on the weekend, versus, I guess, other people. But I mean, that's how I think these little sub communities are made. Like, just some people are just more hardcore about the way they play the game. Some people want to be more casual about it.
Do you sympathize or recognize at all the impact that your series has had on individual people? And was there ever really like a pressure to produce content because of your larger group of fans and following?
It's this entire experience of just running a YouTube channel has been really rewarding for me, even though I've had days where I've sat in front of my computer for 8 hours editing an episode and just being like, what am I doing with my life? Um, it's been really rewarding to see that people have actually expressed their gratitude towards the series. Like I've gotten messages on Instagram, my Instagram, not even my YouTube, of people saying it's helped them, pick people back up when they're going through a rough patch or something like that. I've gotten messages where people have said this has helped them get through quarantine, the new season especially, with the Nile. Just getting through quarantine because like quarantine kind of sucked and people needed things to do. I think there is, personally for me, yes, that there was a pressure to kind of produce another season because it did feel good. Um, I guess I'm someone that kind of uh, responds well to positive reinforcement, that it kind of makes me do things. So just seeing all of the positive feedback, there was kind of a pressure for me to do more seasons. And like I thought I was done after season 7, especially after the fiasco that like we all saw at the finale.
Was that your lowest moment in content creation? Was season 7?
You know, it was definitely a rough patch. Just because for me, the way I viewed season 7 was in the past seasons, I could tell that like people really wanted to, be happy go lucky and like, enjoy the experience. But with season 7, it felt a lot more competitive. Like I'll say season 7 and season 8, it felt a lot more competitive, almost um synonymous to how modern day Survivor in the real world is. It's very competitive and everyone's playing the game. And it was to the point where it felt like some people were taking it too seriously. And that's when, we had the scandal with like people taking the game too seriously and like making contact with players within the game because people were taking it too seriously. And um, it was definitely a low point for me because at a certain point I said I don't know if I want to finish this season, and it was really hard to edit that season episode by episode, knowing, and some people have even told me like they've noticed that like um the gaps between each episode as the season 7 went on, the gaps between each episode got longer because I guess I was just naturally preparing for the dread that was, oh my god, I'm going to have to address a scandal at the finale. And yeah, like I didn't want to have to do that because like no one wants to get put on blast for their actions, but actions do have consequences, and it it was a hard moment for me to get through that.
What's something like funny, or behind like a funny behind the scenes moment, from one of your seasons that like you've never really shared before? Is there something, yeah, like now that we've moved past the seasons, and is there something like, I love the articles that are like, you know, Richard Hatch found a pound of cocaine and production didn't let him keep it. Is there anything like that that we can write about on the Reddit page for your seasons?
All right, if there was a story that had to be on the Reddit page for r/Minecraft Survivor, it would be when we had when we had a 16th castaway on Kootenai. And you're probably wondering how did that happen? Basically, um I'm not going to say who, but someone on the beauty tribe overslept on the day of recording. And we had to get someone to replace them. And I don't think I'm not going to reveal their name because that would be mean, but you know what? We'll call him Mark. We'll call him Mark uh just to have a name down. So we had to get this guy Mark. He was really loud, on the younger side, didn't really follow or listen to directions, and basically I found him because I needed someone to I ran out of backups on the day of. Kootenai was the last season where I ran out of backups. And so he was just someone that like I found on my server when I said at everyone, "Hey, I need a backup for a secret, super duper secret project. Who wants to be in my super duper secret project?" And then I think I remember messaging him, or he messaged me like, "I want to play or be in your project." And I said, "Okay, cool. If you had to describe yourself as a brain, beauty, or brawn, what would you be?" And then he said brain, and I was like, "Oh, okay. I can't cast you." But and he said, "Wait, what do you mean?" And I was like, "I need a beauty." And he said, "Oh, I'm beauty. I'm beauty." So I was like, "All right, fine. I guess you're on the season now." But you will see that there are certain shots, especially in the intro and in the first episode of Kootenai, where you can hear a 16th voice that doesn't make sense. Like like a high pitched like younger person, and basically he just did not listen well to directions at all. That um later on, fast forward, there's another reason, there's another thing that people don't know about Kootenai, which is we actually had to record 3 separate recordings of the season. And one of the reasons was being my internet service provider decided to shit itself on the day of. And basically, my internet and 2 or 3 other people on the cast's internet just went offline for a good 2 or 3 hours. And ironically enough, that internet service provider um, is currently who I'm working for. So I'm not gonna name names, but um, basically, when the internet went out, I said, "All right, guys, we're just gonna have to uh, reschedule a day to re-record this because we can't do it." It was like around the first round. We didn't even vote anyone off yet, and I said, "All right, guys, because the internet is basically crapping itself, I'm just gonna have to recast everyone and re-record the entire season." And then so that's when I said, "Okay, I kicked Mark off of the season," and then magically, my internet service provider uh, got its act together and started providing internet for us again 30 minutes later. And the person who overslept ended up waking up. That I said, "All right, everybody, production's back on because our 16th or our person that fell asleep that Mark replaced is now available, and we still have like about 6 hours that we can still record." So basically, we re-recorded some of the scenes just to make it look like Mark never was on the season. But if you look deep enough, Mark is in the intro shots. You can hear Mark in some of the audio of the first episode.
That's something even I don't think I even knew that, which is crazy. Um, so I have another like group of questions that are going to be a little bit tough, but I want to do something fun first before we move on to it.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you like 7 rapid fire questions. I just want like 10 seconds, your gut reaction, 1 to 2 word answers. Okay.
Okay.
Are you ready? This is a rapid fire
Let's
round.
go.
Best season,
Legal.
worst season,
Fuck. Ivory Coast.
favorite player to watch slash edit,
Oh shit, me. Sinwar?
favorite skin,
Infernox.
best produced series, recorded or non recorded, other than your own.
Andrew Yellow, Big Brother, Minecraft.
Favorite supplemental content created for your series? I'm talking artwork, interviews, wiki entries.
Oh my god. Lyoko's interviews.
Location you wish you used for a season but never got around to.
Fiji.
A game show you'd most like to host if you couldn't host Survivor.
Sequester.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, that was my rapid fire rounds.
Nice. I like that.
What does the future for you in the community look like? And I don't necessarily mean, you know, what content are you still going to produce, or when is the next season coming, if any, or is there ever going to be another season? I think what would be more interesting is just, you know, are you going to continue to be around? Is your server going to continue to exist? You know, will you still engage with shows like this? You know, is there any seasons in the pipeline? I know you played in a Liz season recently. There's a couple recordeds out that you haven't played in. You know, how big of a role is this community going to play in, you know, your next 12 to 18 months, in your opinion?
You know, I don't really know, but that's the beauty of living. You just kind of go with the flow. For me, if I had to put a guess, this community, I don't think I'm ever going to fully leave it, in my opinion. Um, like I almost invested way too much to just say, okay, this isn't a part of my life. Um, you know, I might hop in different game shows here and there. I know there's a couple game shows that are being uh recorded. There, I know Echo is doing his production for season 3. Like, you know, maybe that might catch my attention. Um, like I feel like I'll still be involved in some capacity. Um, because it's hard, I guess, for me nowadays to um dedicate the time to playing games and you know, yeah, playing games when I have other things like other relationships that I want to um uphold in my normal regular everyday life. I'm not gonna my Minecraft Survivor Discord's not going anywhere. Like I love seeing the stuff that people make in the creative and arts chat, from the interviews to the fan art. Um, like I'll still interact in that way. I'll still interact and say this is some cool ass stuff that you guys are doing, and you know I don't. I personally, for me, I would like to create more content, but as the way things stand in my life at the moment, um, I need to basically focus on myself and focus on my career that I have, focus on the relationships that I have in my real life, focus on other things that don't necessarily involve the community, but the community will always still have a place, in my heart.
Do you think part of you is going to regret or make it difficult to fully walk away from content creation? Do you think there's going to always be a part of you in the back of your mind saying, let's just do one more?
Who's to say I haven't already had those nagging thoughts already? Like, no, for real. Like, if I could host these and produce these for the rest of my life, I would. But it's just the editing takes so long, man. Like, it takes a long time to produce like these episodes. Um, like you saw it yourself. I enjoy the hosting aspect. I was a completely different person in the interview room. I'm a lot more chill, a lot more relaxed. And then as soon as we get onto the day of, I'm a complete douchebag. Like there was a moment that you were like, Chris, thank you for doing an eighth season. I'm glad that you're doing this. And then I cut you off and say, okay, let's TP everyone to the starting mats because I was in host mode and I enjoy being in host mode. And let me tell you, learning how to be a host and be an executive producer on your own show has helped me a shit ton in my real world life because I've used that as a way to be able to know how to work with people. I've been put in situations in my real life where my first job out of college was being basically a construction, like a construction project engineer, where I had to work with construction workers and tell them, "Hey, I need you to install this like this in this manner." And uh, being able to delegate tasks to people, that's something that I have learned and taken away from my experience with hosting and creating 8 seasons as the figurehead. It gave me the confidence to basically say, I can take whatever I can. I can take whatever big challenge that life throws at me by the horns. And yeah, I was able to do an awesome job, in my opinion, in my first job coming out of college.
What would a conversation between Sherwood Chris and modern day post Nile Chris sound like?
I think if the Sherwood Chris at the end of Sherwood, what I would say to my current self now, I'd probably say something along the lines of, "This is the best I can do, right?" And the Nile Chris would say, "Buddy, you have no idea what you're capable of. You're capable of so much more." Just because I've been able to develop my editing style over the course of 8 seasons, like that's what I love about Sherwood is like it has this very innocent vibe to it where it feels like it was all about just the challenges and all about just like voting people off who you just felt like voting off. Nothing too crazy with the strategy. But now we have really in-depth strategies that go in the latest season where people even start DMing during tribal and that becomes a big part uh, of the strategy. And so yeah, I'd say I'd what the current me would tell my past me would be is just you're doing great, but you can do so much better and you can apply that to your own life where you have you're doing great in your career, but you have so much untapped potential as a young 22-year-old. You're going to be a bomb ass person to be with in your career, in whatever you do, in your 30s and your 40s.
Chris, thank you so much for supporting me and supporting the show for really giving me a platform and introducing me to everyone it isn't conjecture or hyperbole when I say that, having played in the Nile definitely changed my life. um is there anything you'd like to say? The floor is yours. You have this final moment. Is there anything you'd like to say to the community at large, to your fans, to anyone following you, to anyone listening, that you feel like you've never gotten the chance to say, and now that you have a platform, you can finally say it?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you everyone who's ever supported me. Um, like if I could, just to go back to your previous question, if I could, I would be I would host and produce these seasons for the rest of my life if I could, but it's just not possible. And so, if this is the end for me, I really appreciate all that you guys have supported with, or have supported me with. But yeah, it's best, I guess, for me for things to be right now left open ended because the future is a beautiful thing that we don't know yet.
And this has been episode 1 of the Sunday special. I want to thank Chris for coming on the show, and I want to thank you for listening. If you enjoy this content, if you've been enjoying these episodes, please consider joining my Discord, link down below.